Oh man, that's gonna be a long video. Hey, what's up? My name's Miss Fortunate, and today I'm going to tell you about my college experience and just some little tips and stuff that, I don't know, I feel like would be good to tell you if you're going into college or if you're already in college and are looking for some additional tips and tricks and wanting to hear about someone else's opinions. I don't know, whatever. In case you don't know, this past semester was my first semester of college. I went to a small community college on one of the smaller campuses, just kind of around where I lived. My college didn't have dorm rooms, and it was pretty small. I think there were only about 5 buildings. It wasn't a whole lot to walk around or anything, so I was kind of in a little enclosed community. It wasn't huge and overwhelming or anything. That's what my opinions are being based off of, is my small community college. So of course, if you go to a huge university in the middle of the city with 1,000 people, many thousands of people, then your experience will probably be a little bit different than mine. This is just kind of the stuff that I went back and thought on and thought that it would be good for me to tell you. So just gonna get into that. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about are kind of the perks of being in a community college. Oh, by the way, I do have a blog now. It's at amisfortunatelife.wordpress.com, where I'm going to be making a blog post to go along with this. It's going to have kind of more of my, not as much tips and advice. It's going to be more of my thoughts and feelings and more of a personal type thing about me going into college, with my anxiety, my depression, my lack of motivation, and just kind of stuff like that, and how I dealt with that. This video is just going to be more about my study habits and the pros and cons and just fun stuff like that. Something that I noticed that I really like about my community college is kind of how small it is to get used to, because obviously you're moving from high school, which my high school was generally small too, and you're moving from there to a much bigger place in comparison. And I really liked mine because it was kind of a step, because I'm planning on transferring to a 4-year university, which I'm planning it's going to be much bigger than a small community college. So I think it's a very good first step into that. So I really liked that. I also liked kind of how close together the buildings were. Whenever I was out looking at colleges and stuff, it was kind of a big thing for me, how the campus felt to me. I didn't want all of my buildings to be super spread out and sporadically placed and stuff. I didn't want any of that, but the campus that I was on, the buildings were, some of them were kind of a walk to get to, depending on where you were. And the parking lots were kind of my campus was a circle, and there were buildings kind of placed around the circle, and then there was another building kind of in the middle, and all of the parking lots were kind of around the circle too. And I kind of liked that, because you could cut through and get to the buildings, and I really liked the setup of that. Plus it was kind of just a cozy little place to be. And I'm going to talk more about exploring the campus in a minute. Also, I think one of the things that I feel bad that I missed out on this is the dorm life. I really wanted to experience the dorm life, at least for a semester or a year, because I follow people on Snapchat, and I always see all this fun dorm stuff going on, and decorating your room and decorating the hall, and having people come over, and it's kind of to me it kind of seems it would be a more enclosed apartment with people that are similar to you in age and stuff. And I kind of like the idea of that. Maybe it is not as good as I'm making it seem. So if you lived in a dorm, let me know how that went in the comments, because I didn't get that experience yet, and to me it seems like it'd be pretty fun. I don't know about having a roommate exactly. I think I'd prefer to be in a single room. Depending on who the person would be, I think it would be okay, at least for a little while. And if the room was a little bit, I don't know, it's complicated, but that's kind of one of the things that I missed out on. Also, like being on a bigger campus, I feel like there would be a lot more people, because the thing that I found on my smaller campus is that it is kind of like that little grouping system I've noticed. And for me, it's hard to like find the right group if there's only like a minimal amount of options, because I've never been good at like getting into groups and like being in a group of friends or anything. So I feel like a bigger campus would be like easier for someone like me to kind of find more friends and be able to do more things instead of having just like this limited option of people to associate with. So that's kind of another thing that stuck out with me. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about kind of my study habits. Whenever I was in high school, I kind of knew what worked for me already, so it wasn't really that much of a jump into college because I already know that I'm a visual learner. I can like watch something and then do it pretty much the same. And I knew that like taking notes and stuff really helped me and like writing things, so I already knew that that really worked for me. But I'm just gonna kind of like share the stuff that I do, and maybe it'll give you some ideas if you don't exactly know how to study. Here's kind of what I do. The first thing that I would say is to really take good notes. That is probably the most important thing, and everyone's going to tell you over and over, but they cannot tell you enough because it is so important. Especially if you're taking a class where the teacher gives lectures. That is super, super important, because if you don't listen to their lectures and you don't kind of jot down notes during their lectures, the likeliness of you like remembering the information, and if you had to go back and study it, it's even harder to study if you have nothing to study. So please take good notes. It's very important. But also finding out like the kind of notes that you're good with taking. Like if you kind of have a good memory and can only like jot down little keywords, then that you do that. If you like highlighting things, then you can do that, just finding that kind of stuff. For me, I like writing down like phrases, important things. If I have a really key important thing, I'll like circle it, kind of make my notes look really, really messy. And I also like with definitions, I like writing down like the actual definition, underlining it, and then underneath kind of writing what I think it means and something that would help me to remember the information. And also a lot of times teachers don't have, like in high school, I've noticed that teachers had like slides that say exactly what they say, exactly what you need. College doesn't do that. They are more of a keyword basis type thing, so it's better if you listen, write down the important things that you think that they're saying. Another thing that I found that I'm good at doing, because again, I'm a visual learner, writing stuff really helps me, is towards the end of the semester, in order to study for like your finals and stuff, it's really good to be able to write out your own study guides. This semester I got super lucky, and all my teachers like gave me a piece of paper and said, okay, this is what's going to be on the final. Just, you need to know this, so it made it really easy. I was able to go through my notes, write it down, do something like that. But if you don't have nice teachers like that, then it's really good to be able to go through your notes, find kind of like the key points. Like there may be little details that you wrote down as you were learning it, but you don't necessarily have to know every single detail. So like finding the general stuff, writing that down in one big place, and for me it was easy for me to just write it down, then like scan through it and find the things that were important for me to know. And that's also kind of fun to do with like highlighting and stuff, because you like highlight the definitions, circle things, make it however it is easiest for you. Like if flashcards work for you, flashcards never really piqued my interest, honestly. I don't really know why, but just it doesn't really, college seems like kind of a cut and dry kind of thing, but whenever you find something that works for you, then I would just do that. And if it turns out, this isn't as great as I want, then kind of change it. It's like a big learning process, of course, so like find that stuff. But I found that having a study guide worked really, really well and helping me remember stuff. So that's something that I would recommend, is to have just a big place where you have all of your general notes that you'll probably need to know for the big test. Another thing that my dad actually taught me was preparing yourself for before you go into class. In college, teachers usually, if not always, give you a syllabus, and on that syllabus it should have a schedule of what you'll be doing each and every class period when you're taking these classes. That's super helpful with the ones that are lecture classes, because what I did was, for those types of things, I would go see what chapters we were reading. This works best if you have the notes readily available to you, or like the PowerPoints that they're going to use, or if you use textbooks. This year I only used one textbook, so that's the only time I did this trick. Not really a trick, but like thing. And you basically just go and you read that chapter or that PowerPoint before the class period, so you go into class already kind of knowing the information, or knowing like what you'll be listening for and what you'll be hearing, and it helps you to kind of remember it. And I think that kind of turns into like the memorizing thing, where you have to be exposed to it 3 times in order to like have it stick in your long-term memory. So by the time you get into class, that'll already be your second time hearing it. So I think that's a really good thing to do if you have lecture classes or classes that you use your textbooks, or you're able to get your notes online and stuff, because that really does help. And plus, you'll be able to go into class, and if you already know that you have questions over the material, you'll be ready to ask those questions once you get in there. Let's see, anything else? I think those are all the things for studying that I'll talk about right now. Again, you should check out my blog. I'm going to have a corresponding blog post, which I'm going to link down in the description, which I'm going to have kind of more details and stuff, and I'll probably go back and edit it if I remember anything after I've already posted this. So go check that out if you want to kind of know more, see more, hear more, whatever. But the next thing I want to talk about is basically doing stuff. For me, I was super, super excited for college, because in high school there weren't very many events that interested me. Like, there were a few clubs that I would, go to, and it's like, okay, this is fine, I guess. But there weren't any clubs or anything that really, really interested me. So for college, I was super excited to go and, like, find all these new clubs and go out and do things. And the thing about, like, my community college that I kind of wasn't all excited for was that it was still kind of small, so we don't really have a sports field or anything to go to sports games, which I'm not a huge sports fan anyway, but like if I had friends going, then that would seem like something fun that I would totally 100% do. And plus, without dorms, there aren't any like dorm events or anything, so, and like no parties. What kind of college life is alive without parties? But when you're going to college, I swear to God, just please do stuff. Okay, it is so important to do stuff, even if you have social anxiety. Like, I used to have such bad social anxiety. Thank God it has kind of gone away. I'm still super, super shy, and I'm so bad at talking to new people, but it's so important to go and do stuff, I swear. Like, go and, like, I had an involvement fair where they had, like, all the clubs lined out, and you could see what they had and, like, sign up for information and stuff. Go to that. I guarantee that there will be something that you will want to do. I guarantee it. Go to that, find out on the school calendar if there's anything cool going on. Just freaking go to things, because usually, especially within the first few months of school, a lot of people will be new, and they will be wanting to talk to you. It'll be much more easy for you to find friends if you go to these events, especially early on, because that's when people go and are looking for friends. And plus, like, if you don't have very much to do, it like gives you an excuse to go and do things, and there's a lot of fun stuff that you could potentially do, so freaking do things. Like, I went to a bunch of fun clubs. Like, at the end of the day, I didn't really stay for many of them. Like, I went to a few. I went and played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time and found out that is more of a thing where if I'm first learning it, which I am, it's probably a better thing to like play it with a group of friends or something instead of a group of strangers. But you know what? I met some cool people. Now there's more recognizable faces. If I see them on campus, I'm like, hey, you're the guy that was the creepy frog dude that did drugs. Rock on, man. And just, stuff like that. And plus you get a lot of memories and stuff, and college is a crazy place. There are some weird people. And that is fun and hilarious. And just do that. Also, a thing that I've noticed is that I really like exploring things. So, like, explore the campus, go to every single building. I think there is only one building that I have never been in, and next semester I'm going to go in it, and it's going to be great. It's probably going to be super boring, just a bunch of classrooms, but you know what? At least I can say that I've been in every single building on my campus. But yeah, like, exploring things, go into the school shop. I found out that my school shop has a book section, and I swear there were like 3 books about the Grumpy Cat. And there was a coloring book for Donald Trump. Like, it was a Donald Trump coloring book. What school store has that? And it was so cool. I was like, there were a lot of cool books, and like, you can get coffee and stuff. Exploring the school store, and like, I found out that the library is one of my favorite places to go ever. And like, finding your spot there, and like, knowing who you can talk to get help. That's another thing. Find the places that you can get help. My college has a writing lab that I can go to if I need someone to help me with an essay or my homework or something. There are specific people in the library that are there to help you with your essays, to like help you find databases and good sources for your essays. That is what they're there for. So use it. Use all of your resources. Plus, a lot of high schools and colleges, if you need this kind of thing, they have counselors, and of course they have advisors. So like, if you need to talk to someone, like, they're there. You're paying for it. So like, why don't you use it? And plus, it's so okay for you to ask questions. Like, go, if you don't know where something is, then go find someone who is a teacher there, works there, and be like, hey, I don't know where this is. What is it? People are so nice. Honestly. And if there's a mean person, then like, find a nice person. They're not hard to find. A lot of people are nice these days, believe it or not. So it's totally okay to ask questions. And like, if you don't know how something works, ask about it. Figure it out, because I swear to God, I still haven't been through the cafeteria because I don't know how that shit works. Do I need a card? Do I need cash? Do I have to like order like I'm at a fast food restaurant? Do I have to like get it myself? I don't know how that shit works. You know what? It gives me a lot of anxiety. So like, figure it out before it's too late. Also, a short PSA, take placement tests. I swear to God, I've been taking Spanish for at least 5 years now. And this semester, I was going to go take Spanish, and they put me into an intro to Spanish class. Reminder, I've been taking Spanish for 5 years. They put me in an intro to Spanish class, and I wanted to die. It was the easiest shit, and it was a 2.5-hour class, and I was done. And you know what? I went and I took a placement test for next semester, and I could have skipped that class. Not only that first intro class, but the second class. I just got put into intermediate Spanish, and I could have skipped over a lot of heartache if I just went and took a placement test, if I knew that. I don't know. Like, if you're confident with your skills, take a placement test, because even if you like don't get it, then it's like, okay, well, that's fine. Also, if you're still in high school, take AP classes. Just do it. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, there's 2 more things I'm going to talk about. The first thing is ratemyprofessors.com. Not sponsored, wish it was, but this website, I swear to God, is the best. So basically, it's a website that you go to, and you can type in your school, then you type in your teachers' names, which you're able to choose your teachers, unlike high school, which I fucking love. You know, I should make a separate video about the differences between high school and college. That would be really fun. I'm going to write that down. Anyway, you go on there, it's super easy to use, you find your teachers you look up, and then you find all of the ratings that, like, students will give this teacher, and it's a 5-point scale, and it tells you, like, how hot they are, like, what kind of teaching they do, like, what's important in their class, and stuff like that, and you can see what actual students say about this teacher, and it has been a godsend. I found probably the best teacher using that, because all of the other English teachers were awful, turns out, and, this was actually affirmed by one of my friends. She had a bad English teacher, and I'm like, did you use ratemyprofessors.com? And she's like, no, what's that? And I'm like, exactly, that's why you got stuck in a bad class. I actually did a speech over ratemyprofessors.com, and it basically revolved around, why would you want to spend money to go to a class that has a shitty teacher and not learn correctly? Like, get a good teacher. It's so easy. Just go to this website. But it's so important. Just do it. Just do it. It's so easy. It takes like 10 minutes to find all your teachers. And find out, hey, that one sucks. I'm going to find a new one. It like made me revolve my entire schedules around certain teachers. Because I don't know about you, but I want to learn. Alright, this last thing I'm going to tell you about is super important. I learned about it in my college 101 class, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. And it applies to you no matter if you're in high school, middle school, college, adulthood, life, I don't care. This is very important. Take time for you. Because you know what? It's so important because when you're in college, especially when you're in college. Like for me, I have a retail job. And if you work in retail, you know that is an exhausting situation to be in. And college is just exhausting in itself. And if you don't take time for yourself, you're gonna go fucking insane. I know I was close. And probably the only reason I didn't was because I took time for myself. Even if you don't have that long to chill, just take it. And I don't mean just like sleeping time. No, it has to be aside from sleeping time. For me, I did kind of a thing where every week I would like do something fun or something. Okay, let me explain it how my teacher explained it. He explained it as every week there should be a little fun thing to do. You know, kind of fun. Or maybe even every day. Just something small like getting your favorite coffee or, I don't know, eating a favorite snack. Like at least once a week, find something like that. And then every month there should be a big fun thing to do, like go to a concert, go to a fun event, go to a convention, do something fun. And it's super important. And even like every day, like I said before, just find something small to do, like take a walk, read a chapter of your favorite book, something like that. And it really does help a lot because whenever you're working a lot and you're studying a lot, it takes a lot out of you, and you kind of need your energy to get through that. And it really helps with your mental health too, because God, the anxiety and the depression and everything just mixing in together, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna go insane. And finding something to look forward to in your day and in your week and in your month is very important, at least to me. So just remember that. Anyway, that was a lot. This is turning into a freaking 30-minute long video. I will hopefully cut that down, but thanks so much for watching. Remember to check out the blog post in my description. I'm going to kind of go into more detail about some of this stuff and have some different things written in there, so you should go and check that out. Leave a comment how your first semester or second semester or whatever semester of school, of college went for you, and what your favorite part of it was. Let's stay positive. All good vibes here. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to smile, and see you in my next video. Bye. I put up one finger instead of two.
Keep my glass full until moonlight, 'cause I'm just holding on for tonight.